A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is
Yeah.
being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro.
Yeah, you're
It's
just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah, it's
That just we are the only society on earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, which I know many, they're irrelevant.
Good morning, Misfits. All right, it's TDS Tuesday. We might have to just switch that up to IDS Tuesday. No, wait, that doesn't work. That doesn't work because it doesn't begin with T. Judia? No, we're not even going to try it. Anyway, good morning. Good morning, Misfits. How's everybody doing today? So... You know, the funny thing is this show could easily be a Woke Wednesday show as well, you know, because, so if you guys have never seen the show before, we do themes, right? There's a theme of the day, and we have TDS Tuesday and Woke Wednesday, and on Woke Wednesday, we talk about the similarities between the two. We'll get to that in a second. Let's say hi to everybody. Hip Hop Patriots in here. Just finished up his show. Winky Winky Nod Nod, Bad Moon 001, Funmon. Amanda Collins, I saw Miss Mocha Powered. There she is, Miss Mocha Powered. Good morning. Good morning. Miss Mocha Powered, I still don't know if that is a reference to coffee, but I believe it is. I hope it is. I have two pods of coffee, not 2 cods of poffy. And I will be finishing that, and then I'll do another one. I run on caffeine. Anyway, so TDS versus IDS, right? We have a problem. We've talked about this problem every week, and we're going to continue to talk about this problem every week because there is a mass psychosis that we have been dealing with for a decade, and I don't want to deal with a new one for another decade. Right? So the Israel derangement syndrome is mirroring Trump derangement syndrome and often leads to Trump derangement syndrome because Trump doesn't have Israel derangement syndrome. Does that make sense? It really is. It's like it's getting to a point where it's like, guys, are we really doing this? Like, are we really just going to continue to let the dumbest people on the planet drive the conversation, right? Where it's just, look, we did such a good job making fun of how ridiculous the left was over the past decade. Yet, for some reason, there are people on the right that just are like, no, maybe they got some good points. They don't have good points. They don't have any good points. And it's the same playbook. It's the same exact playbook. Take a look at this. Mario Nawfal, or whatever the hell his name is. This guy's literally a propagandist who, I wouldn't even call him a propagandist, actually. I'm not going to go that far. What he is he is a grifter. Okay? He runs I don't know what you would call it, a media company. He basically, his X page has like 20 people using it, and all of them have either A, Israel derangement syndrome, or B, Trump derangement syndrome. We're going to cover more of this, but I'm going to use him as the little teaser example for what we're going to be talking about later in the show. All right, so interview. Trump just stopped Netanyahu from striking Beirut, and according to Axios, called him an effing idiot and warned that Netanyahu would be in jail if it wasn't for Trump. Is Trump turning on Bibi? Was this all a facade? Now, hold on. This is from 2:09 a.m. today, 6 hours ago. 6 hours later, Axios said Trump called Netanyahu. This is very significant, even if it didn't happen. What do you mean? You said it happened. 6 hours ago, you said it happened. 6 hours later, you said maybe it didn't happen. You know why? Because this is just freaking fake news, man. Most likely, look, if something, Dan Bongino has the best rule, the Bongino rule, right? Don't make statement of facts for 72 hours after a story breaks. But yeah, we'll get into that. We'll talk about that because this is all stemming from one report. And as you saw a little teaser there, my immediate reaction was, source, trust me, bro. And it's like, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Hold on. Let's get back to this screen. It's the same thing they did with the left. It's Trump. Trump was on a phone call with somebody, and there's a source. Who's the source? I'm not going to reveal my sources. Well, okay, well then bullshit. How about that? Anonymous sources need to be protected by journalists. Yeah, but they're not journalists. I mean, look, you can choose to believe your confirmation bias. That's fine. You can choose that, right? But I can choose to think you're retarded. We can both make choices today, okay? We can do that. But don't come at me when I go, I don't believe that. Oh, you're an Israeli shill. No, I don't believe that because I went through 10 years of this. See, I went through 10 years of the purple-haired people telling me I was a MAGA shill, MAGA cult member, MAGA. It's like, and I wasn't ashamed of being MAGA, just like I'm not ashamed of supporting Jews, right? I've said this so many times, but I don't necessarily support the Israeli government. I don't not support them. I don't have any opinion about them. Not my government. Bibi Netanyahu seems okay. I don't know. I can tell you facts. I can tell you that they're definitely an ally based on a lot of things. In fact, you know what? We'll grab this because I know he posted it on Instagram, but he must have also posted it on here. But Nick Matau, this wasn't planned for the show, and we're going to be saving it for later. Nick Matau posted this really great breakdown. Here we go. Perfect. All right. So we'll save this. We'll get to that later in the show. But that's going to be the theme of the day. IDS or TDS versus IDS, we're repeating the same thing. It's the same thing that we went through before. It's the same thing that we went through for over a decade. We need to fight it the same way. Okay? You call the dumbasses, and you just move on. You do not validate these people. You don't go, well, actually, no, you're an idiot. Make fun of them, troll them, mock them, shame. What was that? Miso. I forgot about that. Okay, so Sean Farish would know this, right? I came up with a strategy before I was on LFA, on my own show. I came up with the Miso strategy, right? Here, hold on. I'm gonna write. I'm a visual person. We're gonna write it down, right? Miso, right? Great soup, by the way, but that's not what we're talking about. Okay. Miso. All right. Here we go. From right to left. No, I don't know. Backwards. Okay. Ready? Mock, insult, shame, and ostracize. The Miso strategy of dealing with morons. Right? Mock, insult, shame, ostracize. Mock them, shame them, insult them, and then say, get the hell out of my tent. You're not, get out. Get out. Not, maybe we should unite to stop the infighting. No, Miso. Mock, insult, shame, ostracize. There you go. You're welcome, internet. Well, we have that because it's TDS Tuesday. That's the theme of the day. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do for Woke Wednesday because it's pretty much the same thing, right? Because Woke Wednesday, we talk about the comparisons between the woke left and the woke right and how there's basically just this horseshoe theory going on. But even though today's going to be a little bit similar, I just felt it was fitting because one of this Trump derangement syndrome is like really, I can't imagine living with it. Like I feel like it seems to me like it's like kind of like a drug addiction, except you don't have the good part, like the good part of getting high and stuff. And I'm like, you know, I mean, it's just all it's like all hangover. Right? Am I wrong there? All right. Well, anyway, we also have the daily breakdown, hence the name of the show. And what I do is I go on the internet, I type in the word news. We're using DuckDuckGo today. All right, typed in news. This is what popped up. We got New York Times, we got CNN, FT. Can't remember what that stands for. Anyway, Politico and NBC News. So the New York Times ones, they might not pop up, but let's try anyway. Trump backs off plan for 1.8. Yep, we're not going to be able to read that. For $1.8 billion fund that drew political backlash. The fund has drawn backlash. Okay, let's find out what this is about. Because now I'm curious. Let's see here. Trump 1.8 billion fund. What is this? The Anti-Weaponization Fund was a controversial initiative announced by the U.S. Department of Justice on May 18th, designed to compensate allies of President Trump who claimed they were unfairly investigated or prosecuted. Oh, this is what these people were talking about. Like, oh, you want to pay the J6? So I did an interview. Well, actually, I did kind of like a, I don't know, guest spot, whatever, on Katie Pavlich this week, and it was fun. Or last week, Friday. Yeah, Friday. It was actually fun. Let's go find a clip because it was Katie Pavlich reached out, and it was during the what's it called? The riots, the New Jersey riots. And this guy that was on the show with us, crazy woke TDS leftist, he immediately started into the whataboutism on January 6th. So it's like, by the way, guys, I like the whataboutism arguments when you go, hey, so yeah, right here. This isn't the best clip. I'll get you the other clip. There we go. Yeah, I think I made bald male Rachel Maddow mad. So this guy here, I can't remember his name. He's talking about the riots that are going on in New Jersey, and he's like, yeah, well, you know, these are mostly peaceful. Obviously, he said mostly peaceful. Then he started talking about how Trump wants to pay January 6ers each $1 billion, which I did not even know what he was referring to at the time, but I assume it's this. So I don't think it was each. I think it was 1.8 billion, which I honestly don't think you should either. I think look, the government was weaponized against J6ers, but they should file they should file civil suits on their own. They can do that, right? If you feel like you were prosecuted or persecuted or whatever, go file your own suit. I don't think that this is smart, just based on the limited knowledge that I have of it. I didn't even know about this, the Anti-Weaponization Fund. The fund instructs the initiative allocated $1.776 billion. That's clever. That's a Trump thing to do. And you see, look, I can criticize Trump. I don't think you should do this. Okay, this is stupid. All right, like I can criticize Trump. It's not a cult. No, but I need to read more about this. But I'm pretty sure that it was just stupid, and if he's backing off, that's probably the right move. But anyway, even though this is 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm a big fan of myself. I'm a super narcissist, so let's watch it. Yeah, I couldn't screen record this because it was on Hulu, but let's see. Let's play this.
Humanity, okay, and allow members of Congress to see if they're being treated.
Let's turn this up a tiny bit. Turn this up just a little bit. All right, where are we here? Let's go 15. I think that'll do it.
Humanely. I think
It's a little too loud. All right, we're doing the Goldilocks thing. Let's go 10. And that should be just right.
temperature would be way down.
Perfect.
Zach, the accusations that these illegal aliens in detention are not being treated with, humanely, or that they don't have proper food, that's been debunked over and over again. It's a false statement in order to justify what's happening outside of Delaney Hall tonight. What is your response to these allegations that have been disproven?
Well, I mean, the facilities, there's video of the facilities that's online, and I mean, they're a lot better than the cages that Obama put, illegals in. And there's like AstroTurf, they're getting iPads, there's, like, they posted the full menu for their what they're being fed. I mean, honestly, it's like, it's actually kind of like a better place than they would be if they were just like on the streets, because, according to,
He's about to get angry because I'm about to say I'm kind of trolling him a little bit.
These people, they're just looking for a better life because their life isn't that great. Well, honestly, the better life is actually in the facility. So yeah, I don't know what this guy's talking about, because
That's why Hispanics will vote Democratic. That exact comment is exactly why Democrats.
Richard, why are you implying that illegal immigrants are Hispanic? Do you know that the majority of ICE officers and Border Patrol agents are Hispanic?
Please
What
don't
about,
fix
what,
what I'm
about,
saying.
what about the
Please
Hispanic
don't.
agents who are working tonight, the Hispanic police officers who are up against these rioters who continue to threaten their families?
I don't know how Katie kept a straight face.
I understand what you're doing here, but there's a reason that Hispanics are now voting Democratic.
What's
because
the reason?
They're nauseated by the way they're seeing ICE treat their fellow Hispanics, whether they're here legally or not. And we know there are hundreds of maybe
ICE
thousands.
is going after illegal aliens no matter where they're from. Whether
But they're
they're from
arresting
China,
Americans.
whether they're from Senegal, whether they're from Mexico, whether they're from Ireland, they're deporting people back to Ireland. So I'm not really sure what your argument is when it comes to Hispanic voters.
You know as well as I do exactly what ICE went out to do in LA and Minnesota. They weren't rounding up Irish people, okay? And that's exactly why your side is losing. Because they're engaging in this adult view of the world.
Zach, go ahead. What's your response to Richard saying basically if you're Hispanic, you're mad that ICE is arresting illegal immigrants who are committing crimes against people in their community?
well,
And
if the
Americans
if the vast majority of people who are entering this country illegally were Irish, they'd be arresting more Irish people. They're arresting the people that are here illegally, despite their race. You act like they're going after a certain demographic. The demographic is illegal.
So basically, yeah, that was bald male Rachel Maddow got really upset. But in another clip, he was talking about how he's like, yeah, the protest, these protests. By the way, it's not a protest if it's not peaceful. It's the First Amendment protects peaceful assembly. But yeah, the protest. Yeah, they're just they're getting a little rowdy, but contrast that with January 6th and 5 police officers who died, and I was like, oh my God, no cops died on January 6th. But here's the thing, you know what I find interesting about this argument that the left makes or anybody really, when they make a whataboutism argument, your response to that should be, so if you're upset about January 6th, if you're still upset about that 5 years later, shouldn't you be upset about this? Because shouldn't you have the same level of vitriol and hatred for these people who are violently trying to overthrow government officials and assault government officials? I mean, one of the ICE agents got freaking bit by a pedophile. Like, that's crazy. Like, literally, like, broke skin. Like, the guy, I don't know if you guys saw the story, but there was like this quote protester, rioter, terrorist, He chewed through an ICE agent's arm, and they finally arrested him. And sure enough, pedophile. It's just like Kyle Rittenhouse, Kyle Rittenhouse shot protesters, right? 2 of them are pedophiles. A lot of pedophiles on the left. I'm just saying, they throw that, protecting pedophiles out there a lot. And I'm like, you guys might want to zip. Just saying. But yeah, back to this. I mean, look, here's the deal. If there is a slush fund for J6ers or people who the government was weaponized against them, I understand the sentiment. I don't think it's a proper use. I think it looks very. I think it looks like favoritism, and even though Trump probably had good intentions, I would say backing off of that is a good idea. So if we got to call balls and strikes even when it's Trump, and you know what, him backing off means that he's making the right move. Trump makes mistakes. I think he corrects them a lot. All right, another New York Times, which we can't read. After an agonizing week of threats, Kyiv is finally bombarded by Russia. Moscow's repeat warnings of a major strike, combined with a delay before it happened, seemed intended to inflict a psychological toll. We talk about this a lot, guys. That, it's funny how nobody really gives a shit about the Russians and the Ukrainians that are dying. Candace Owens is up in Kyiv or in Moscow right now. I think it is. I think it's Moscow. Shilling for Putin, which is hilarious. It's just hilarious. Like, I don't even need to give it much attention because it's like, oh. We talk about how we have influencers and podcasters that are being paid by foreign adversaries. Actually, I will jump into one thing. This is just wild. General Flynn, I don't know if you guys caught this, but General Flynn is officially a foreign agent of the Republic of Srpska, headed by Milorad Dodik, who is Putin's most vocal ally in the Balkans. So he's being paid $1.2 million. General Flynn is being paid $1.2 million a year as a foreign agent of a Putin ally. General Flynn has been one of these woke right retards who's been just changing it, just all of a sudden changes his opinion and is like, attacking MAGA. Shocker. This isn't like a rumor. This is an official document. Like there's no maybe here. It's not like with Candace Owens where you're like, yeah, probably, right? It's like, yeah, look, this is a. So basically, you have this guy, General Flynn, is now working as a foreign agent for this guy, who's Putin's ally. Here's General Flynn with Putin's ally. Guys, look, I mean, come on. How often do we have to do it? Do we have to do it every day? Should we connect the dots for the, not my chat, but for the dummies every day? Should we just keep connecting these dots? Or do they know and they don't care? Like, that's the thing. You have to play this fine line. Did I have that on the screen? I don't think I even had that on the screen. Did I? I don't know, guys. I just had a ADD moment. General Flynn here. I don't know if I just had this on the screen. There's Flynn with Putin's ally. I mean, look, I often struggle with this because I don't know if I should explain, because in my podcast I'm explaining things. On X and on social media I'm trolling, I'm insulting, I'm using my miso strategy, okay? But I need to explain this to the middle people, right? The third party listener. No, you just you and dead air. No, I didn't. Thank you for confirming. I just had a stroke in the chat. Yeah, so I'm constantly wondering whether or not I should even bother explaining this to people, because it seems like it's so obvious. This is the clip that I just was watching by myself.
Interaction with Mr. Dodek is very important.
But here's Putin just basically talking about his relationship with Dodek. There's Michael Flynn with Dodek. Sanctions lifted on Putin-backed autocrat after lobbying by Trump allies. Flynn. We have a problem, right? Because I could explain this to an idiot 1,000 times and nothing's going to sink in. I don't need to explain it to you guys because you already get it, right? My fans, my followers, the people that align with me. But there's a third person, okay? There's a third person that's watching, right? And they don't watch often. They're the passerby, right? The third party listener, the third party reader who sees the explanation and goes, I didn't know that, right? And tailoring your content to that person is kind of how you win the battle of ideas, right? Because again, like I could sit there and explain this to a Candy Cult member or an Alex Jones InfoWars follower or a Groyper or a woke leftist anti-Trumper. I could explain all this over and over again. Like the guy who I was, the guy on Katie Pavlich. I could explain this to him till the end of time. And at the end of the conversation, it's just going to be, no, you're wrong, right? Just complete denial, cognitive dissonance, confirmation bias, insert here, right? That would be a waste of time. Explaining it to you, educating you, my audience, right, is not a waste of time, because some of you don't know the full extent, but some of you are kind of on board. But I mean, I'm giving you ammo to use in your own platforms, right? Just more information is always better information. But I'm not building the army with you, right? In order to build the army, you need that third party listener, that person that's never seen my show before, that person that's never read my tweets before, who watches me or you or anybody that's doing what I'm doing, Sean, Dan Bongino, what have you. That person goes, oh, I didn't know that. And the funny thing is, a lot of the times when I sort of, recruit people, or like, I'm using that word in quotes in case you're listening, but the times when I bring people over to my side is when I'm calling out my own side, because they are in the middle on the other side. They're middle leftists. They're like, I don't hate Jews, but I don't agree with Trump. And I see that you are calling out these people. Like a lot of people, I called out that Chud the Builder guy. And I had people who were like, the black community was like, hey man, I thought that MAGA was all racist, but actually I see that you're not. That's the person you're talking to, okay? So getting into this, cult of not being able to criticize your own side, it's actually very damaging. It's why we talk about this on Woke Wednesdays, and we're talking about this on TDS Tuesday, because I'm trying to give you guys the reasoning behind the strategy. And that's it. The reasoning behind the strategy is you bring people in by being not crazy, but also very well informed and a good debater. And that takes practice. But yeah, General Flynn, foreign agent, Candace Owens in Russia, Nick Fuentes went to Rome with Candace Owens. Chud the Builder was going to Rome. Like the Qatar trip with Rob Smith. He's like, Qatar is great. You know, what's her name? Emily Saves America was talking about Qatar. It's like, bro, all these people that accuse me, I've never been to Israel. I've never been. I've never gone. I don't have any connection. I don't have any connections in the Israeli government. I don't know anybody. Hassan Piker is like, I got a guy in Cuba. Like, bro. But it's all projection and it's all, it's a Marxist tactic. Accuse the enemy of what you yourself are doing is pretty much where we're at. So, TDS versus IDS. All right, next story. Tuesday's wild races for California governor and LA mayor and other elections to watch. I don't know. Do you think Spencer Pratt can beat Karen Bass? Heads up? Yeah, 100%. 100%. But do you think that Spencer Pratt can beat the political system in California of mail-in voting and fraud and, I don't know about that. We'll see. We'll see. See, hold on. Somebody in the chat just goes, Flynn, what the F? I was fooled. Exactly. You were fooled, right? You were fooled. And you know what? A lot of people are still fooled. You guys don't realize, not you, I'm not yelling at you. I'm not even going to name you in the chat. I'm just saying, guys, these people are being paid a lot of money for their opinions, okay? A massive amount of money. We just saw the actual FARA document, okay? And in the actual FARA document, it's $100,000 a month, okay? So look at this tweet from yesterday. In case you didn't know, and this is for you, okay? This is for you. No, I'm not going to name you. I'm not outing you. I'm not calling you out. And it's a perfect look. It happened to me. I used to be a fan of Tucker Carlson. Everybody was telling me Tucker Carlson. I was like, nah, y'all are crazy. I was wrong. I caught on pretty quick, but Podcastistan is the name we're giving these people, didn't randomly just change their opinions about Trump and MAGA. They're being paid a F-ton of money for their new opinions about Trump and MAGA. It's not red versus blue. It's not principles. It's money. It's green. It always has been. It's how they've been doing this since the beginning of politics, right? They buy people. Tucker is bought. That's why they accuse everyone else, by the way, like me, of being paid $7,000 a post. I'm not, right? I'm not. I wouldn't be going to work today to set a shower, to finish shower prep if I was being paid $7,000. I would love to sit here and talk for hours and get paid, but I can't sell out. I don't have it in me. I cannot do it. I'm very rare. I'm a rare person. Right? Most people have a price. I mean, I probably have a price. Nobody would pay it. I don't know what it is. But I said it many times. I don't ever want to find out how much it would take for me to change my opinion, right? So I just turn everyone down. I get offers all the time. I get them, and I'm like, nah. I'm like, I'm good. I was talking to somebody the other day. They're like, bro, why don't you just take the money and just keep saying what you're saying? I'm like, nah. I'm not joking, dude. I'm not joking. I'm like, they're like, wait a minute, but why? I'm like, because I do explain it. I'm like, because if you start taking the money, okay, then one day they go, hey, we're going to take away the money if you don't change your opinion. That's how they get you. They get people by going, you can say whatever you want. You can say, no, it's your page. It's you. And then they start paying you ridiculous amounts of money that you do not deserve. You haven't earned. You're just talking into a microphone and they're like, air. And then it becomes a slippery slope because one day they'll go, hey, you know, I think that you're gonna have to really back off on that. I'd be like, nah. But then if they were like, but we're gonna take away the 10 grand a month we give you, I'm like, damn. Ooh, that's gonna sting. Ooh, no. So instead, you know, there is a way to make money on here. There is a way to keep your integrity and not sell out. And it's basically just get your own sponsors, meet your own people. Don't jump on any opportunity. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There's ways to do it. It's a very difficult process. You got to put actual work in, right? You don't want something for nothing. I don't think that any of these people, I don't think anybody with critical thinking is looking at any of these people and going, you know who's like, you know, Candace Owens, she's just so insightful. It's like, no, she's probably, Tucker Carlson's dumb. General Flynn is dumb. A lot of these people are dumb. You know, they're dumb. They're dumb people. All right? The people that make money honestly in this game, they're not dumb. You have the Ben Shapiros, you have the the Jordan Petersons, you have the and you know, I'm like, oh, these are all pro-Israel people. It's like, I mean, most people who aren't dumb are pro-Israel because it's like they're an ally. So I'm just saying. All right, let's get back to this. In the governor's race, it's important. Not really. I don't know. I don't care. I hope that, you know, I hope that Spencer Pratt wins. He's not like a crazy MAGA Republican. I'm torn because I kind of don't care if California just falls apart. I don't really care. New York, I said this about Mamdani. I'm like, maybe Mamdani should win. Because the only way I think that these people are going to like change is if they hit bottom. And I don't know if I feel that Spencer Pratt is bottom. That sounded dirty. Mamdani definitely is, right? Mamdani's like, he's like in the gutter, heroin needle hanging out of your arm. Right? Like, that's Mamdani. But I think that Spencer Pratt would be more like Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Where it's like, okay, you get a mushy, kind of Republican who kind of just keeps the status quo. And I'm not saying that I think that, you know, Bass should win or that California should fall apart. I'm saying, I just don't know if it's going to make much of a difference if Spencer Pratt gets in there. I hope he does. Because look, here's the deal. I said the same exact thing with Mamdani. I go, I am always going to root for the most pro-America candidate because I love America. Okay? I don't ever want to see the some socialist or some, you know, radical leftist in power. I am, however, saying that if there's a person with a problem, or if there's like a, you know, like a business that's failing, let's call it, like, you know, using analogies here. Let's say there's a business that's failing. Are we prolonging the inevitable, right? Are we prolonging the inevitable by putting, like, you know, by taking Suboxone instead of just like a hard, hey, you know, cold turkey, you need a radical change, right? Does that analogy make sense? You know, like, did I go too far with the Suboxone? If you don't know what Suboxone is, it's what heroin addicts use to wean themselves off of heroin, but it's still heroin. It's basically heroin. We'll see, because I would like to see like a Giuliani type come in, and that's just like hardcore. I don't think we're seeing that. Like, even same thing with Steve Hilton. It's like Steve Hilton, I don't think he's gonna do much. We'll see. Hilton would seem to have little chance because becoming governor, but for a 2 Republican race, You know, there were people that were talking about the Hilton Bianco thing, and very early on, right around the time that they railroaded Eric Swalwell, I was saying that it would be great to see Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton come in first and second. And it was Kyle Campbell that was like, it won't happen. And I was like, I don't know, we'll see. And she goes, it won't happen. And she was right, you know, but she knew more than me because she lives in California. Chad Bianco should drop out because they just don't have the numbers. Spencer Pratt is doing really well. He's doing some crazy, like, you should copy and paste his political strategy for every race moving forward because he is on point with his messaging, with his ground game, with everything that's going on in how to do it. And like I said, I still don't even think he's like the greatest, like, you know, most qualified or even most, you know, like I wouldn't be super excited about Spencer Pratt, but his actual strategy, his messaging, his ground game, the way that he's running the race, that's phenomenal. He's second to none on that. I mean, besides Trump, who just crushed, he's doing a fantastic job. I was just skimming this while I was talking. It's pretty much just watch for these races. So if you're in California, watch for those races and always vote red. I mean, look, they say vote blue no matter who. Like vote red until you're dead. Definitely vote red over blue at this point, right? But don't vote red no matter who. If I saw a candidate that was like red, like Susan Collins, I don't know if I would. I'd leave it blank. I vote my conscience. I have to, right? I can't vote for somebody if I don't agree with them personally. But I would just definitely vote red over blue. That would be my suggestion. Okay, we're going to be talking about this a lot more. Why isn't this working? Okay, political is working. Why isn't ft.com working? I'm clicking. Okay. Well, we're going to be talking about that anyway, so. Again, another one, Graham Plattner. Jeez, this guy, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, right? There's going to be more that comes out. They are trying to Eric Swalwell this guy. I don't know if it's the Democrats who are like, we got to get him out so we can get somebody else in. I don't know, but this ain't coming from the right, I don't think. I think that this is coming from inside. If you guys are unaware, Graham Plattner is the guy with the Nazi tattoo that was just caught sexting a dozen women, and his wife came out and was like, hey, we're working through it. So, okay. Graham Plattner's latest scandal has Democrats questioning whether the once hyped up candidate could end up weighing down their midterm chances. Yeah. I'd say that's a good guess. Plattner is all but certain to become the Democrat Senate nominee to face Susan Collins, who I also don't like. In this situation, I want to put a caveat on something I just recently said. I would have to put my patriotism over my principles, which is a principle, in Maine. If I lived in Maine, I would vote for Susan Collins. I don't like Susan Collins. She is a rhino. I don't usually condone voting for rhinos, but when you're in a general and you're like, okay, what would me not voting do, right? I would have to vote for her. Because it's just an R. It's just a seat. We just need the seat. We need to keep the majority. We need the seat. She's better than a Democrat. So it's a situational thing, right? Where it's like, okay, you're going to stay home or you're not going to vote because you don't like, no. When it comes to a general, you kind of have to vote. It's just, it's the way the system works. It's not perfect, but it's the best one we got. All right. But yeah, so Susan Collins, I don't see how she could lose to this guy. Because again, Maine's very left and she is a squishy rhino. So like, she's not like a hardcore MAGA where the voters are going to have to hold their nose and go, I'd rather vote for a philandering Nazi than the old moderate. No, they're going to vote for the old moderate female. They're not going to vote for Graham Plattner, who's just they just keep on putting the worst candidates possible. Damn, 8:48. This just went crazy fast. Okay. Iowa gunman killed 6 family members and himself. What a piece of shit. Police were called Monday to a home 50 miles southwest of Cedar Rapids. So the suspect, 52-year-old Ryan Willis McFarland, looks like he killed his family and himself. A very short article. So I don't know about that story, but it seems like it's pretty straightforward. It's just some guy snapped and went crazy and killed his family. And I hope he's burning in hell. Okay, let's get to this is what we were just talking about. Okay, so we got the the 6 hours. So we have the story that came out that Trump was screaming at Netanyahu, and this whoever Brandon J. Weichart is, he's like, oh, I know. No, you don't. You don't know shit. And then 6 hours later, the tone shifts to it's significant even if it didn't happen. No, it isn't. It was never significant. It was a made-up story. So here's the original story. Right, Axios came out and said President Trump and Israel and Prime Minister Netanyahu had a phone call, and in the phone call, the quote is, "You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you. Everybody hates Israel." It just sounds like so made up. When you have a quote from an anonymous source that sounds exactly like the left thinks Donald Trump talks, it's probably made up, right? So what did I say? Source, trust me, bro. And I want to go through this weird freaking conversation. It's like talking to a friggin' wall with these people, okay? If you had actually read the article, this is from Agent Self FBI, okay? How many followers? 4,000. Okay, you've actually, either those are bots or I can't believe you had 4,000 people follow you. If you actually read the article, you'd have seen that it says the claim came from sources with direct knowledge, not from someone's imagination. And again, I write sources in quotations. And he goes, I think you might be retarded. I go, who are the sources? And then he comes back, multiple news agencies are reported on it. Okay. I go, who are the sources? Okay. And again, okay, I forgot you're half retarded. Let me dumb it down. Journalists don't release the name of their sources. Ah, there it is. Right? He goes, go read the article. I go, I read it. There's no sources. No. No. Journalists don't name their sources. Okay. So the sources literally, trust me, bro. Like I said originally, you absolute clown. Look, sources is not a source. If it says source, this person said, that's a source, right? If it says sources, then it's not a source. Does that make sense? It's literally always, trust me, bro. It's like, hey, can you name your sources? Nope. Then they're not sources. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that anonymous sources can't be telling the truth. They absolutely can. Oh, somebody in the chat, nobody's disputing it. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Somebody in the chat. See, and this is why we need more. This is why you need me. This is why you need me here. Okay. Okay. Now, you want to take that back? You want to revise your statement that nobody's disputing it? I love you, Bucklebrush Jones. I'm not trying to be a dick. No, it actually already is being refuted. Exclusive. According to a very senior official, and by the way, this is also Trust Me Bro, but it's all Trust Me Bro. Okay? According to a very senior official on the PM's team, the Axios report is inaccurate. Trump did not make personal remarks about jail or claim Netanyahu is hated globally. Instead, these tense calls, now there probably was a tense call, okay? Focus on conflicting social media posts. Trump felt Netanyahu implied the war was continuing at full intensity, while Netanyahu felt Trump implied a total ceasefire. Trump did note that defending Israel's global position is difficult and breeds hatred. Ultimately, the call ended with an understanding. Israel will hold off on striking Beirut as long as it's not attacked within its own borders. So what I would assume is that they had a phone call. And in that phone call, it probably got heated like some phone calls do. Okay? That would probably be the source to Axios probably said something like it was a heated phone call. And then I don't know why, but they were like, you know what would make this story a lot better? If Trump said, you'd be in prison if it wasn't for me, and you're effing crazy. That's the part that's not true. So it's quite, and you know what the wild thing is? It's like, who does this story help? Helps people like me who are constantly saying that Trump is not controlled by Bibi Netanyahu. Even though this story helps my narrative, I'm still debunking it because that's called integrity. I don't care about your bullshit narrative over here or your bullshit narrative over here. I only care about delivering facts. And the facts are, this source is Trust Me Bro. It always was. Right? And if you have TDS or IDS, you're going to have something called confirmation bias, and you're going to believe what Axios says because you're silly. Stop being silly people. All right? Now, look, by the way, speaking of being absolutely retarded, Nick Fuentes believed it. You know why? Confirmation bias. Right? Now, he's got confirmation bias that oh, yeah, Israel's just blah, blah, blah. Let's listen to a couple of seconds because we only have a few minutes left.
Trump called them up and he let them have it. Trump said, what the fuck are you doing? You're invading Lebanon. You're going to make everyone hate Israel. How could you do this? I got you out of jail. You owe me. This is literally the conversation.
Is it literally the conversation, Nick? Or are you just a moron who believed an Axios article from a guy who has a history of being fed false information? Because that's the guy who dropped that article. Nick's retarded. Don't be Nick. Don't be retarded. All right? Be me. Not retarded. Actually, technically retarded. All right? I have the SRS-2 score to prove it. That's why I have an R-word pass, because I am full fucking autistic. But, sorry.
I don't know why you got to do it in front of the kid with the effing. All you got to do is say earmuffs to him. Earmuffs.
My point is, Bongino rule. 72 hours. Don't report on anything as fact, like that dumb little Mexican twink, until it's verified. I mean, if Trump came out and was like, those are my exact words, right? If Trump came out and was like, those are my exact words, I would go, all right, now it's verified. And you know what? It proves my point. Israel doesn't control America. Bibi doesn't control Trump. You guys lose. I win. Nana nana boo boo. All right. All right. Now, real quick before we get out of here. All right. Actually, we have to get this in. There's only a few minutes left, But let's just really let's kick the
Every
let's kick
single
the speed up
year.
on this.
America exports more than $24 billion in goods and services to Israel annually. That's Israel spending $24 billion into our economy every year. Israel is one of America's largest trading partners in the world, despite having a population smaller than New York City. Second, jobs. Trade and business ties with Israel support more than 250,000 American jobs. That's 250,000 American paychecks that are connected to this relationship. Third, investment. Israeli investment in the United States exceeds $36 billion. More than 2,500 Israeli-founded companies operate in America. Those companies employ Americans, generate tax revenue, and contribute billions, tens of billions, to the U.S. economy. Fourth, technology. This one's important. Israel spends roughly 6% of its GDP on research and development. Now, why is it important? It's one of the highest rates on earth. It's higher than the United States. It's higher than China, which, by the way, in 2023, China skyrocketed how much they're spending on the research and development. And Israel, percentage-wise, beats them out. Higher than nearly every major economy for that matter. That's why Intel, Microsoft, Google, NVIDIA, largest company in the world, Apple, and dozens of other American companies maintain major research operations there.
Okay. Just because we're short for time. Earlier, we brought up this question. Is Israel an ally? I highly recommend you go and watch this video. It's pinned on Nick's page, and watch the total breakdown of why Israel is an ally. It's what I've been saying for years. I don't care about the Israeli government, but if you really look at it just objectively, they're not only an ally, they're one of our better allies. Real quick, finally, Trump derangement syndrome sank Uyghur, and Israel derangement syndrome sank Uyghur. We could have just made both of these guys sank Uyghur, right? If you go on Grok and you say, what percentage of Sank Uyghur's post mentioned Israel? 30 to 60%. And in his latest post, as of June 2nd, 2026, over 70% of his posts mention Israel. Do you see? Do you see how the derangement? Do you see? So guys, I can't imagine it's a good life. I can't imagine it's a good life at all. Real quick before we get out of here, quick little promo from the Heartbeat brand. I am going to be putting together a ad for the Heartbeat brand. We are going to try to make them a sponsor. Right now they are an affiliate. If you go to the Beacons link in my bio, which is right below the code Misfit25, the beacons.ai, you can find all of my affiliates. We have one sponsor, Patriot Pouch, but we are going to try to get Heartbeat brand in here as a sponsor, which means I need you to buy hats, okay? Go buy hats. They're the best hats. I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing the Freedom hat. They just rolled out the USA 250 line. Use code MISFIT25 at theheartbeatbrand.com. And if we can sell 10 hats, they are going to be a sponsor. So I need you to go do that right now. All right? You go buy hats and get us some sponsors, because we will never sell out. We will only promote products that we like and we use with fun, patriotic Americans who are behind them. All right. Sean Farish coming up next. I will see you tomorrow for Woke Wednesday. Everybody, have a good one. Peace.
A partially valid, a half-truth, if you will, is being pushed.
I can't wait to find out all sorts of new and exciting things I didn't know about myself.
So you just hate Jews, bro.
Yeah, you're just an anti-Semite. Congratulations.
You're
Go
not
join.
What would you say?
Exactly.
Well, that's different. It's not different. It's the same thing.
Yeah,
that just we are the only society on earth who has the obligation to self-destruct, to blame ourselves for every problem that has ever existed, and we just think of ourselves as the worst human beings who are responsible for every bad.
How many Muslims are trying to stop Boko Haram? How many Muslims were confronting ISIS? How many Muslims, the extremists always win. So the peaceful majority, of which I know many, they're irrelevant.